Are you a fan of Alien, The Thing, or True Detective Night Country? Want a chilling story to listen to on those cold winter nights? Then you need to tune into The White Vault, a fully voiced horror fiction podcast from the folks at Fool and Scholar Productions. The award-winning found-footage show centers around an international rescue and repair team sent to discover the source of a mysterious signal at a remote Arctic research station. The weather takes a turn for the worse, the team becomes trapped, and you guessed it, spookies ensue. Check out The White Vault, available for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe now and discover the unimaginable horrors that await beneath the ice.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Firelink Podcast, episode number 17 for Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. I'm Marty Sleva, as always, joined by Casey Wosu, Nick Calandra, our producer Eric Vikart. It is so great to have you all here. We have a great show. I'm not going to compare it to other shows. I do that a lot. I feel like that is my crutch, is comparing it to other weeks or acknowledging the fact that I compare it a lot to other weeks, which feels kind of fourth wall breaking.
It's just very meta. You could say this will be better than Windbreaker because we're competing
this
podcasts.
Week the podcast will be better than next week's. I promise you. So if you're going to listen either this week or next week, this week's will be much better because we have some great stories to talk about. We had a new story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws, the latest Star Wars game coming from Ubisoft Massive, the Division developers. And I'm going to tell you, I'm excited based off the story trailer and the previews. And it's kicking off the fall review season. That's what it's doing. That's what a little bit of Star Wars kicking the door open. There's also a bunch of entertainment news that is tangentially related to our video game and nerdy fandom. And then our main topic is going to be sort of pulling all of this in, the fact that we have too many things. There's too many things when it comes to games, when it comes to movies, when it comes to TV.
Books.
There's too many things, and you can't be adding new mediums. That's the problem. Is you're like, I want to get into anime, and you're like, well, you just kick the door open because there's a lot of anime.
There's too much anime as well. Yeah,
there's too much anime. And so we're gonna talk about how we're dealing with that, like what it feels like to sort of to deal with the constant onslaught of new games, big and small, ongoing games, TV shows, all that jazz. But right off the bat, we have super chats, and super chats are one of the many ways that help keep the lights on here at Second Wind, including Patreon, including supporting us over at our merch store, which we're going to have a very exciting update coming in the coming months. So stay tuned for that. And then everywhere on Twitch and YouTube, including... were you saying something?
I was just saying May. You said months.
Yes,
month.
coming months. Yeah, next month. You're right. Jewel Rao with a €5 dono. Thank you so much, Jewel. I am playing Killer Instinct, which released in 2013. Has its last update a little while ago with new arenas, colors, etc. for free. Suck it, Tekken and Mortal Kombat. That's right. Killer Instinct released. That was an Xbox One launch game.
Yeah, that game looked kind of dated when it launched. Like it was just full of particle effects, but was kind of ugly. It still looks ugly, but it's been going strong. Like folks still play that game.
Did you ever get into it, Casey?
I played some of it like early on. I liked Killer Instinct Gold back on the N64. Like I played that a lot. But that newer one, it just never clicked. So like I spent like
that was one of the only
time with it.
fighting games I was good at online because the wolf had like a back and forth attack with the thumbstick, and you're able to just spam it and slap them until they died. It was great.
There you go. Yeah, that's the fight. I own Killer Instinct and Killer Instinct Gold and wanted to love them because that was Rare at the time, and that was like my developer. That was Donkey Kong Country, Banjo, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, like Jet Force Gemini. Like those were my dudes. And then I think I just needed to realize I don't like fighting games. Although that's not true, because I like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and I like Soul Calibur 2. Those would be probably two of my 30 favorite games of all time. 50 favorite games of all time.
50.
I think in general, Killer Instinct was just never that good. Like it was always fine, like kind of like middling in terms of like quality as a fighting game, especially in comparison to some of like the big heavy hitters.
Yeah.
and it had no real standout thing about it, right? Like it wasn't as violent as Mortal Kombat. It wasn't as technical as Street Fighter, or it was just there.
Yeah, I mean, with the Killer Instinct for Xbox One, it was free, right? It was free to play.
Yeah.
Like that was a big selling point, I guess. But I guess now you have a wealth of things free to play. And then Pie Guy with a 5-pound dono. Thank you so much, Pie Guy. First time catching you live. Just wanted to say thanks for the good conversations. Also, I think Eric should be allowed to just play games in his corner.
He does play games in his corner. He keeps putting stuff on our heads.
I think he meant literally like just open up his just
like you.
whatever. I think that's kind of nice.
He's on a Switch right now.
That's kind of nice. I could get behind this. Thank you all so much. Before we get into our little news bits, a couple things. First off, happy Year of the Shadow to all those who celebrate. Did you guys realize Sega with a bombshell announcement? This is the year of Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh, okay.
An official announcement.
I thought this was Eclipse related. I was
last time they did a Shadow the Hedgehog.
No, this is not a cool. They did it during the Eclipse, which was very top.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Do you guys have strong Shadow the Hedgehog opinions?
Strong, no.
Yeah. Do you think he contributed to the rise in gun violence in America?
No, he was a victim of it.
Oh, he was a victim of it. Okay.
Like he was shot. Like he didn't suffer a bullet wound, but his image was tarnished by it. Yeah.
We know Shadow is going to be in the upcoming Sonic movie, which I think is coming out this Christmas.
That's probably going to be a big deal, honestly.
That's going to be a big Sonic deal. Movie. They're releasing the Sonic Generations Cross Shadow remake, so Shadow's going to be making an appearance in that game. And I wonder if we're going to get a little remaster of Shadow the Hedgehog, a Shadow the Hedgehog 2, if you will.
Was that gun game the only Shadow game that was like he was the star? Like that was
the only. Yeah, I mean, you could play.
You want a remaster of that? Isn't that game like deep, like universally hated?
Most Sonic games kind of.
Most Sonic games. Yeah, he's a playable character in a lot of Sonic games, but Shadow the Hedgehog is the only Shadow the Hedgehog game.
And they gave him a gun.
And it gave him a gun.
That's so wild.
Yuji Naka out here being like, give my boy a gun, and also I'm coming for the Dragon Quest producers. I don't like what they're saying about me, which is great. I should have put that down, but I didn't. Also, speaking of Sega, though, Midori. Do you guys know about Midori?
No, I do not know.
A prominent Sega and Atlas leaker. It's this account. We don't know who they are. It seems like they're somehow associated because they get shit right all the time. Big Persona 6 news. Are you guys sitting down?
Yes. Yeah.
Max and Barry are excited about it.
Its color is green.
They've never done green before.
I'm gonna let that sit before it. They've never put green in their game. There's never been a green anything. Don't check it. They've never used the color green. No, each of the Persona games in modern Persona have had a color tied to them.
Yeah.
Persona 3 had blue, as you can see in Remake. Persona 4 has gold, the golden, and Persona 5 is obviously red.
Very red.
This one's green, so very exciting.
Great job.
You guys have any like green opinions, Kermit and whatnot?
I just realized those are all the colors that make up the Google logos.
Do you think Midori could be a Google employee? And that's
Persona's all inside Google.
Do you guys still use? Do we still use Google? Is Google still our search engine du jour?
In my entire life using Google, I have never been annoyed to actually use it until like the first time I've ever complained about it was like this past week, where I've been like digging for the thing I'm working on. And every time I dig, it's just sponsor. I'm like, why? I have to scroll down a whole half a page to get to anything. Like, you put yourself out of business.
What if we started using Bing? And I'm
that's
not just saying
that's exactly what I
was
said.
a one-time Bing employee, a Bing annotator back in 2010 and 2011. I'm just saying, Bing's.
I feel like Bing.
I have a ton of Microsoft reward points I got to use at some point in my life.
You use them on Bing? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like their ads legit don't tell me the information I'm looking for. Like, I think Bing is legit just worse at its job.
Bing's worse. Bing is worse.
I actually do agree.
Nothing was worse than Yahoo, though.
But Yahoo was like a homepage.
Yeah, but Yahoo, every time you search something, you just get all the Ask Jeeves questions up the top.
Well, some of us wanted to know what Jeeves was doing.
I wanted nothing to do. That was where AI went wrong.
Yeah. Ask Jeeves. There was a big building. It was located in downtown Oakland. And there was a big, like a big high rise that had Ask Jeeves at the top. And when they changed their name to just Ask, they just removed the Jeeves. And like there was kind of like a funeral held because they were like, "What? Did Jeeves pass away? Like, where's Jeeves?
Clippy's gone.
Jeeves and Clippy. Yeah, 10 years ago we had Cash, Jobs, Jeeves, and Clippy. No, we don't have any of them. Dr. Calx, been a member for 1 month in the sponsor-free zone. Thank you so much. You just have to ask Jeeves. I know. A lot of people don't realize. A lot of people talk about DuckDuckGo and all this shit. Think about Jeeves.
I've never heard of DuckDuckGo. Is that recent or is that from the internet past?
I always thought DuckDuckGo was like a malicious search.
No, I thought DuckDuckGo was all about like they can't track you, like you're doing something illicit.
Oh, okay, that's crime searching.
Oh, yeah. Either that or Yahtzee's weird porn fetishes.
yeah, either or. Speaking of porn fetishes, jumping right in the news, following up on last week's, let me tell you, just like landmark debut of What They Up To, which people have come up to me in the streets, tears in the eyes, and they've said, "Sir, this is the greatest edition of this podcast since it started." This one comes thanks to a friend of the show, Casey, who, after last week's episode, was like, "Hey, Sam Lake, the founder and creative director at Remedy, behind games like Alan Wake, hanging out with Hideo Kojima in Japan." And so I'm putting the picture here. Our question we're posing to everyone is, what are they up to? What are these two? What are these two doing?
Sam Lake's asking him why I'm his best friend and not him.
I can believe it.
I do not believe it. I can't believe it. There's no way you can believe that, Casey. That's preposterous.
No, for Kojima stuff, yeah, I think it's pretty easy to say he's taking their souls, right? He's putting them in. I mean, in fact, we saw literally this Sam sitting in the freaking soul sucker machine while strangely, like, he drinks that cup of coffee so strangely.
He loves that coffee. He loves taking a sip of it in a really weird way.
But what's interesting is I'm forgetting who it was, but Sam Lake had more like content following that, where he had met up with someone else in Tokyo.
I believe
it wasn't a Japanese game dev though. Who was it? I can't remember.
Neil Druckmann.
Neil Druckmann, yes.
Who also met up with Kojima. 3 of them. Cutting it
right,
up.
Yeah. So this web of secret Tokyo meets. What's going on in Tokyo?
So
what's going on behind you, Casey? Your cat's trying to your cat be mischievous.
He's going wild a few times.
Mischievous.
Which I really like.
She's being a cat. Yeah, usually I kick her out of this room before this, but like I was on a phone call.
These 3 people have been colleagues for literally decades, have run in the same circles, have had ties to first-party Sony things, have had ties to award shows. So clearly they're just cordial. And if you go to Japan, Kojima seems like a guy who always wants to like bring people to his studio, and his studio is kind of neat. So people probably want to see his studio. That being said, the actual more interesting about this is, particularly with Sam Lake, but maybe even with Neil Druckmann, is it seems like Kojima's horror thing with Xbox, right? His whatever that project that is, game, live action, experimental thing, is he's talked about how he wants to pull in masters of horror, and that's why he came on stage with Jordan Peele last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this feels like a collaborative horror experience. We don't know what this is, but it kind of feels like that. And so I'm wondering, between Alan Wake and between The Last of Us, like, those are really high profile horror-ish games with horror elements. I'm wondering if those two will somehow have anything to do with this thing that we, again, still do not know what it is.
No, I think, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know if more sense to ask why I wasn't there.
I don't know if Neil Druckmann can do something with an Xbox exclusive. Like, at a certain, would Sony be like, "You are actually our employee"?
Traitor.
Could Sony stop him from just talking to Kojima or like appearing in a Kojima game, like his likeness?
Oh, I don't think so. But doing something in an Xbox exclusive, maybe.
But I mean, because of that reason, yeah, I never got the vibe that they were like doing something, like they were like collaboratively like going to be hands on with some sort of project. This is more talking shop about the genre because Kojima is very like what's the word, like frou-frou about that sort of thing. Like he's like, oh, I want to get the greatest minds of video game horror to help me ideate this thing. Like that's the vibe I get from this thing. And while you're here, I might as well just take your soul and put it in my machine. So like there's just a lot of that going on.
Last question about this. I watched a lot of wrestling last week. I might be done with wrestling for a while, but let me tell you, I'll talk about it later. I'm a big fan. I'm very pro wrestling right now. Say we have a 6-man tag match, 3v3, and we have Kojima, Neil Druckmann, and Sam Lake versus last week's trio of Sakurai, Yoshi P, and Harada-san. Who comes out on top? Who's leaving with that belt?
Real talk, I feel like Harada and Sakurai will fuck some shit up.
Yeah. Harada seems like a dude who is like, the reason we put things in Tekken is because I fight. Because I fight. Like a character can only enter Tekken if I fight him. And Sakurai seems like he's watched enough fighting to be like, yes, I can actually do a Falcon kick.
Like the thing about Sakurai is he is like super skilled. Like I watched him, he had like a kind of crossover YouTube video thing when he was still doing his YouTube thing with this other Japanese YouTuber who just does like old school arcade games and challenge that man whose entire channel is about playing old school arcade games to a gauntlet of just old arcade games. And Sakurai was winning consistently. Like he has hands. Like he knows how to use them. That man has like secret talents. I'd be scared to like just be in a room. I'd be scared to be that man's enemy, honestly.
Neil Druckmann can just bring out a PS5 controller and chuck it at somebody. These things are heavy.
Oh, yeah, he uses the power of the DualSense.
Yeah, like he'll be sitting there trying to do his combos to get his finisher at it.
I'm replaying The Last of Us Part 2 right now, and Ellie has some anger in that game.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I don't know if I want to fight Druckmann.
You all have some things you need to work.
He really likes stabbing people in the throat.
And they're just trying to play the PlayStation Vita. I had to kill someone who's playing fucking Hotline Miami on the Vita, and I didn't want to, but I did. Last of Us Part 2, great game. Anyone who says it's not,
don't you start this. I don't want to hear it.
Kick rocks. Let's talk about upcoming games, including Star Wars Outlaws. That is the Ubisoft massive game, the Star Wars kind of more single player cinematic, less open worldy, more think Uncharted-y game that was revealed last year. It got a new story trailer this week. I dropped the link there in the chat, and it has a release date. It is coming August 30th, which is kind of kicking off the fall game season. Like that there's like a 2-week span where you have Black Myth Wukong, Star Wars Outlaws, Stalker 2, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Yep.
Which seems like that's like kicking the door on the fall release schedule, which is very exciting. But aside from this, it seems like hands-on previews are going to be going up soon. Game Informer's put theirs up. Other folks are going to, but I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch this. But like Nick, what did you think of this as a fan of Star Wars and single-player games?
I mean, the game looks good. I just don't know what it is about Ubisoft. Like, I'm excited for this game. Like, it's a Star Wars game. I definitely want to check it out. I just don't know what it is about Ubisoft and voice actors, though. Like, something just when you compare it to like Jedi Survivor, something just is always off about voice acting in Ubisoft games. I was getting it from this trailer too. Like, it's just very dry, very kind of, I don't know.
Are you saying it was better in Survivor? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think most Ubisoft games have bad voice acting in it.
Really?
Today's Ubisoft games? Oh yeah. I mean, have you played Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora?
No.
Yes,
I played a little of that.
No, I've not. I mean, I played the Far Cry games. Always seem to have really good voice acting, and the Watchdog games had good voice acting.
The Far Cry games have good voice acting from like the big name A-list actors they bring in.
I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, they're not all A-list. Like the main character's not A-list.
Exactly.
They don't talk more than anyone.
Exactly. The villains are A-list actors a lot of times. Troy Baker.
Yeah, and I guess
Then Giancarlo, and I don't remember who did the voice for
Voss.
him, but also
the guys in 5.
5. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was also a big A-list actor.
I don't know who did.
It was not an
that
A-list
guy,
actor.
Joseph
No.
Seed.
Yeah, Joseph Seed, not an A-list actor, just a well-known voice actor. But anyway, like
aside from
the game looks really good though. Like I'm actually excited that like Ubisoft is going more story focused route games again. It seems with like they're kind of focusing on Prince of Persia quite a bit, which is an actual character that they need to make, and the Star Wars game has actual character. So that gives me some interest in that they're kind of going for less, create a character, open world stuff, and like actually getting back to narrative stuff, which I feel like they've been just super lackluster on because all of their games have been open world, collectathon, tower, that kind of stuff. And the one game that had a ton of personality from them was Immortals, and then they canceled the sequel.
It's a really good game. Casey, tell Eve I want another one.
I'll let him know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I thought this trailer was cool. I'm really fucking excited. I like the idea of it's a story that takes place between episodes Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. We see little glimpses visiting Jabba. You got your Han Solo and Carbonite adorning the corner because he hasn't been unfrozen yet.
And nor will he ever be.
And nor
not before this game ends, right? Like
no, he can't be. She's gonna leave and be like, damn, I could have saved that man, but I didn't. And if you do, a time paradox thing will open up like in Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, it looks really cool. We don't know, like we saw a little bit of the gameplay last summer. This was a story trailer, obviously, so it wasn't focused on the gameplay. Just sort of on the places you'll go, the things you'll be doing, and then the hands-on preview had stuff about how there's kind of micro decisions scattered about the game of one mission gets you intel and you have to choose who to give that intel to, and there's kind of factions that will your standing with them will raise and lower depending on how you act, which seems cool, like a game that takes place in kind of the underbelly crime syndicate of the Star Wars universe, which is something that's been explored a lot by the expanded universe and dabbled in media. Seems like
Chat's asking if it's open world. It is open world. But it's also like a very narrative driven game.
Yeah, it's again, we're not gonna, I guess, no until we actually go hands on with it. But it seems like it is, to me, a lot of the stuff. It felt a little bit like the way they were describing the Guardians of the Galaxy game. If it also had like occasional kind of hubby areas, not hubby like husbands, but hubby as in like smaller open world areas. But again, as a thing that I like a game that isn't announced years and years and years ahead of time. I like the fact that we haven't known about this for too long, and it's coming out, in a few months, in 4 months, as opposed to something like Star Wars Eclipse, the David Cage game, which was revealed several years ago and will not be coming out for several years, if ever.
And the KOTOR remake.
And the KOTOR remake, which isn't real and has never been real. And it's a bad idea. No one should do that. Yeah, I don't know. The trailer and the stuff about it look cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing it.
Yeah,
Did
production
you
value.
play Jedi Survivor?
I started Jedi Survivor, but then I was doing it on the press account, and like that weird EA stuff didn't like let me continue, so I dropped it. So maybe I'll go back to it at some point because I was hoping it would just be a much better version of the first game, which I thought was okay. Like it was a nice start, but had tons of problems for me. But I don't know, other people's opinions of the second game seemed kind of mirror that like it was still kind of imperfect in a way. So I'd like the idea of someone else getting a shot at something like this. But yeah, I've personally not seen enough gameplay. I didn't get to see this trailer, and this trailer was all story stuff, right? This wasn't like more gameplay.
Yeah, just a cinema. I mean, there may have been like bits of it, but it was a story trailer. Yeah,
like I liked what I saw from the first gameplay trailer. I do just want to see more, because in general, I feel like Star Wars can get away with a lot. Like you will get a lot of high praise for just matching the Star Warsness of a Star Wars game versus making a game that's really fun. So like without getting myself in trouble, I think this is a good place for a game like this to exist.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're coming from. Yeah, and I think its timing's good too. I think with that August 30th release date, it won't be, assuming nothing major drops in there, because that is like the window. Last year we had Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield drop. So
Yeah.
assuming something like that doesn't get added in there, it feels like a smart time to show that off.
And even if we did have something that was a little more competitive, because you named a couple of other things that are in the same window, like Star
Yeah.
Wars is a much bigger name than those other things. So like even if something else that was like maybe projecting a higher quality than this, not that I know what the quality of it is, but something that's projecting the idea of high quality, Star Wars is still a bigger name and more likely to kind of get it over the edge.
The other three games I mentioned in that same like 2-3 week span is Black Myth Wukong, Stalker 2, and Space Marine 2, which all look cool, but are not Star Wars.
Yeah, they're not Star Wars.
Yeah, or that's not a Starfield or a Baldur's Gate or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see. We don't know what Nintendo's back half of the year is. We don't know what Sony's first party back of the year is. We don't know when stuff like Indiana Jones will be coming out. So obviously that August through November, December window will be changing rapidly in the next few months, especially as we move into June with Summer Game Fest and everyone's showcases. Like I believe Ubisoft announced they're doing a Ubisoft Forward in June. So I'm sure we'll see more from there. Pie Guy, really quick, and with the £5 super chat. Thank you so much. I tried something today. Boss of Saber Interactive reckons $70 games might end soon because budgets have to come down. Any thoughts or insights on that?
No, I don't think. But I don't think like people are paying it already. Why would you drop it?
I would argue that I don't think people are paying it. Like folks are. Like people are paying $70 for very specific games, like the biggest of the big AAA, and then any of these other ones that come out and try that nonsense, they get weighted out. Like because eventually they'll be on sale.
Which ones though? Because a lot of only the biggest of the big AAA games have been $70.
I think Forspoken was.
Forspoken was, and I think Immortal. I think they tried to get away with it with Immortals of Avium.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
brand new IP trying to sell at $70. Yeah, but
I think it's less 70 will go away, and more we need to look at the entire spectrum. Mm-hmm. I think we should have games that cost $5, $10 every increment up to 70. And honestly, who knows when Grand Theft Auto comes out? Maybe it's gonna go higher than 70. I don't envision a world where Grand Theft Auto is any less than 70.
Yeah, Take-Two made it pretty clear that that's what they want to do, and like that is a game that is top tier enough to demand it from an audience. So
if you wanna talk about AAA and budgets, go watch my Unpacked video that I did on that, because like there is no what is AAA anymore, because when I was doing my research for that video, like Final Fantasy VII was considered the first AAA game. As far as like marketing and budgeting goes, and it was like $80 million budget back in 1997, and today that was back in 1997. Today that would be like $150 million,
worth every penny.
So now if you had made Last of Us Part 2 back in 1997, that's a $400 million game easy.
So wait, how much did Rebirth take in today's money to make and market?
I don't know. I don't know if they've released those numbers yet.
Yeah, I don't think they've been open,
because people wince at $200,000 games, right? And that's like Sony first party in terms of quality, which is
200 million.
Yeah, 200 million. I'm sorry, what did I say?
Yeah, 200,000. That sounds like a very good deal.
So like, that sounds close still. Like to if it was 80 million and that translates to 150 million, like it's not that far in terms of the amount of marketing and spend.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna come down to like, I think they're gonna have to just be more selective on game pricing, because Alan Wake 2 wasn't $70.
It also didn't have any physical release.
Yeah, right? But even on digital stores, they're still charging $70 for the big AAA games.
Yeah, so that's a crime.
I think
that's still insane to me. What are we doing there? I don't get like a $2 discount or something. Or
I think it's got to be. Yeah, I think publishers are just going to have to be more selective about what games. If you spend $100 million, the game has to be $70. If you spend $50 million, the game has $50 or $60, whatever. Like, got to be reasonable. You got to be, if it's a Call of Duty, everybody's going to pay $70 to get that. The sports games going to pay $70 to get that.
Been a weird generation.
It is.
And again, it started off with the pandemic, so it's understandably weird. But it's just like it doesn't feel like we've really started getting like like we haven't really hit that cruising altitude yet, and it already feels like people are talking about descending. And it's like we haven't had that like lull in the flight where it's just like fucking crazy. Look how we're above the clouds. You can see the sun. The stewards and stewardesses are just like handing out Mai Tais. I don't know what flight I'm on in this metaphor, but like you know what I mean. It just feels like we're still going up, and they're already like, well, the Pro is coming out, and the new consoles are coming out, and Nintendo's going to release some piece of shit later this year.
It's like it's panic. It's like, oh, we made all this money and we need more.
Yeah, the guy at Saber, he's an executive. Like he is an executive that is looking at numbers like that. He's not thinking about what he's just it's basically what you said. To him, it's just how do we make more money.
Yeah. Don't trust Saber. I don't trust anyone. DTA. Don't trust anybody. You know what I do trust? The upcoming Dredge film. No, I don't. This will never actually get made. The hit game Dredge, which a lot of us loved last year, is getting a film adaptation, as announced at CinemaCon, which is like kind of E3 for movies that's held this time of year, every year in Vegas. The reason I personally don't believe this is because the folks behind it have been have also put their stamp behind a ton of other video game to film /TV /animation adaptations that have yet to come to light. Some of those have been the Sonic
not a single one of them.
No, there's some folks behind Sonic the Hedgehog, which obviously has its movies, but there's an upcoming Tomb Raider animated series. There's an upcoming Streets of Rage adaptation, an upcoming It Takes Two adaptation, an upcoming Splinter Cell Netflix adaptation, which are all things that have been talked about for a long time and might come to fruition. Because there was a time when they announced the Fallout show, and I was like, I don't know if that'll ever come out. And sure enough, it's all coming out tonight.
What's the name of this particular production company?
This production company is called Story Kitchen, which is new, and is one of the co-founders was one of the two folks behind the John Wick series, and it's folks who clearly came up loving video games because it's like someone who had something to do with John Wick, someone who had something to do with Sonic the Hedgehog. All these projects are like video games. It's sort of like their whole mantra was we're going to take stories that from other mediums that don't seem like they could work in movies and TV and make them work there. So I think that's like, them gunning for a lot of sort of game IP stuff.
Dredge it's not a terrible idea.
I mean, Dredge is like,
no.
Yeah, I don't think Dredge really has a story. I remember, but if they
take
the general
world that could work,
exactly. General, that's the same thing with Fallout. Like if you, and that's why I hope we get more adaptations on the feel and world of these IP rather than trying just to retell the story that we've already had.
Yeah.
Because Halo could have been cool, right? If they had just told a whole new story, maybe not even tie it to Master Chief and just tie it to some noble team or whatever in the Halo universe.
I thought that's what the first season was.
No, the first season was just Master Chief, and
it was about how he lost his virginity.
They tried.
But that's a whole new story. We didn't get that in the games.
Yeah, but they took an existing character and tried to tell a new story with that character. Like if you just take a world like Fallout, which doesn't really have a central narrative that everybody remembers fondly, it's being in that world that people remember fondly. And that's like the same kind of thing you get from Dredge, where like it's weird, it's Lovecraftian, it's on the sea, that's something like you can just take that and put a story in there, keep the general theme and the feel and all that together and make something of that.
Well, I mean that works better because Fallout is a world that doesn't, at least from game to game, have.
So I said doesn't have a central narrative.
Well, it doesn't have central characters either.
No, it doesn't have a central character.
Yeah, so that's why that works. Like I don't think you could do that with Halo because Halo is a world and story that is centered around specific characters in that world. Like you take like Master Chief out of it and like whatever the Sergeant Johnson and all these other guys or the Arbiter and whatnot, and replace it with new people. Like
they did ODST. Master Chief wasn't in ODST. Master Chief wasn't in Reach.
Well, no, but he existed. So you're saying, okay, you want to tell a story in that world, but it's
in that
not
universe
about those people. Okay,
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
because I was thinking you meant like divorce it from like the narrative that exists and just tell a new story. Which is something that Dredge would have to do because like what the hell is the story in that game?
Yeah, I think as long as you like keep the central feel of everything about the game and tell a new story within that universe, that works. And I think we are going to see more adaptations like that.
I mean, Assassin's Creed did that though, and it didn't work.
well,
like,
all right. To be fair,
no,
like,
because I like that idea. Like,
movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying in terms of like how to do an adaptation. And when they did it, they still messed it up. So like that I just always get reminded of that.
Assassin's Creed is one of those movies where, like, there's a handful of movies where I'm like, I want everyone who did this to just get back together and try it one more time.
Yeah, let's just
like,
do
consider
this.
that was like a rough
Something
draft.
went wrong here.
Like, all of you are very talented, so I feel like give it one more go. Like, it's none of yours fault. Like, just give it another try. Pretend that wasn't real. But yeah, that's
Last of Us is easy because the game is so movie like, right? But yeah, you take an open world like Fallout. The only way you're going to do that is just make a story within that world.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited for I don't care about the Fallout games, but like everything I've read about the show sounds great. It's got Walton Goggins, who I love.
Yeah,
like,
I'm excited to watch it tonight.
He's great.
Got the lesser Nolan, the Nolan who's not a murderer. So like the middle Nolan, who's like good, great. That's great. Like middle Nolan is still better than no Nolan or murderer Nolan. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do wish it wasn't. I wish it was weekly. I don't like that it's just dropping all at once. Again, we're going to talk about this in our main topic, but it feels like there's a pressure there. Like I want to stay up to date in the group chats. I don't want to be the one to be like, guys, don't put spoilers. I'm not there yet. Like I don't want to be that dude. So I'm just going to fucking
made a perfect
suffer.
transition to the main topic. So let's get to it.
Let's just fucking do it. There's too much stuff, guys. They need to stop.
Yeah, we're talking about too much stuff. Let's talk about this.
My transition is that there's too much stuff and everyone needs to stop making things.
Would that help?
No, because I'd get through a little bit and then I'd like the 6 months would come up and I'd be like, oh no, there's too
like
much.
you'd rewatch X-Files over again, and then after the 6 months is
still
passed.
good. There's still episodes I haven't seen that I keep watching. And let me tell you, Agent Mulder, he's a horn dog.
So we should preface this by we are in games media. We explore so much more media than any average person is expected to ever explore. So we have put this on ourselves to hurt ourselves over how much media there is. But the reason I think like Marty and I were discussing topics today, the reason it kind of came up is because like the last few weeks, like I've just been really burnt on playing games. Like I've tried a bunch of different games. Like last week I talked about like trying a bunch of RTS games, and that was literally just because I was trying to do something different. And I've had a really hard time. And I think like I'm gonna be taking a break, my first break since I got fired from The Escapist on the 22nd of April. But like mentally, like just the amount of stuff that has come our way, even since leaving, is just mind-boggling. Like you look at our Steam account today, and the games that have just come out in 24, and there's already over 100 games in there. And there's like 20 of them that I'm like, these are interesting. I really want to get to them. And then I load them up, and then I'm like, I'm too tired. I can't. I just can't focus on it. I can't start it. That's why I've like paused on games a little bit. I've gone back to TV. I'm just watching TV series right now at night, just kind of going through that kind of stuff, just to like get the pressure off. But you know, but even like you know, my friends that I play multiplayer games with, right? They get sucked into my world of having a problem with too many games to play. Because I'm like, we'll play Lethal Company one night. I'm like, all right, I'm bored of that. Let's play Phasmophobia this night. All right, now I'm bored of that. Let's go to this. They're like, just stick with one game, you asshole. And I'm like, I can't.
Do you get a similar problem, Casey?
It's more so that like stuff will come out and I very much want to engage with it, but there are other things that I either haven't finished engaging with yet. So like I'll feel the pull to be like, all right, well, I'll spend more time with this because I really just want to get through this, and then I'll just feel all these other things like zip by, or based on like how much time I've allotted myself to like basically take a break and be like, all right, I'll just eat some food, sit down and watch something, hang out with my fiance, sit down and watch something. We'll find shows or content that fit just that amount of time. Like, oh, we have like 2 hours, so let's binge a quick Apple TV series or something on Amazon. When really I I want to watch friggin' Formula One Drive to Survive.
And you want to play Unicorn Overlord. That's all you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Those are things that I want to do. So I'm consuming other media that then becomes more stuff that sits in the backlog because I am interested in that stuff. That these are good other shows, but like I've still not finished Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and that I was really enjoying that show. But like there's like 4 or 5 episodes left that I just haven't been able to squeeze back into time to sit down and watch.
Yeah, it's it could be overwhelming if you just look at games. And you look at the stuff that have come out this year, you're like, oh, there's a lot of like beloved AAA games that are all very long. A lot of like Japanese action adventure RPG games, whether it's Yakuza or Persona or Final Fantasy or Dragon's Dogma. And so you have these like big, beefy 50 to 100-hour games. Then you just have the constant sort of churn and update of live service games. And you get new ones added to the fold with stuff like Helldivers. You get updates on stuff like Destiny. You know,
that trailer looked great.
Exactly. And then
he's like, yes, new thing.
Every week or two, we just get an indie game that you're like, man, that seems like I want to talk about, you know, Children of the Sun, or I want to talk about Balatro, or like that kind of thing. And so if you just focus on games, it feels like there's too much. And then you roll in TV, and like tonight, there's just gonna be like fucking 10 episodes of Fallout. And that's a thing that people, you could binge right away. People are already talking about it. I feel like if you take 2 weeks, people will be done talking about it.
Yeah, it'll be over.
So you get that sort of like, well, shit, I want to be a part of this conversation, which is, you know, partly why I like weekly stuff like Orange Kitty with $5 Canadian says, really enjoying that they're putting Shogun weekly. Really allows you to ruminate on each episode and digest it fully. Amazing series. I completely agree. And I feel like every episode I watch and then I really think about and I sit with, and I'm in the group chats, and I talk about my group chats a lot. I gotta stop talking about my group chats.
How many group chats are you in?
A lot. a lot of GCs. But I like that, as opposed to this Fallout thing. It'll be like, I swear to God, there'll be the one unemployed dude who like tomorrow at noon will be like, did anyone finish Fallout? And be like, fucking no. About 13 hours ago, no, we didn't finish it. Yeah. And by the time folks get to it, like there's this diluted conversation around it. And yeah, you feel that with games. You feel like movies still feel like there's sort of a monoculture, at least in like Dune comes out, and like it's like, did people watch Dune? But then you have your streaming movies. You're like, did y'all see Jake Gyllenhaal punch a dude in Roadhouse? And,
that's on streaming, or that's in theaters?
That was straight to Amazon. Yeah,
so I need to watch that.
You can watch shirtless Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal shirtless is fine.
Yeah,
but no, you're right. Like, yeah, movies they kind of backed out of that. Like, right when we were in the pandemic and everything was coming to streaming, they were in danger of kind of being consumed by that level of, all right, everything's just right at your fingertips. But then they sort of were able to bounce back after a little bit. So like they do seem relatively safe. Is there a way that this? Well, you know, music that also isn't kind of affected by this either. Well, like it's been affected in a different way because of streaming, but at the very least, people still consume that in a way where it still feels like a weekly thing, because music has always been a thing where you get it as a big batch.
Yeah.
And then you talk about it over, you know, a stretch of time because you let that ruminate with
music's also more of a background thing that you don't have to like sit there and really focus on unless you're really in it. Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, people are.
That's for me, it's just background noise.
Sure. I feel like some people, in the way some people treat sports as like, oh, I have an eye on football this weekend, and there's other people who are like, don't fucking talk to me because there's 9 hours of games and I don't want anyone to interrupt me. Yeah. People are saying books, anime, manga, comics.
Yeah. I'm not even on that train. I bought so many books that I'm like, I want to read. At night, I just want to read. But then I'm like, but I also need to play Final Fantasy Remake. Oh, but I need to go watch Masters of the Air. No, I'm just going to bed. I've confused myself until I'm sleepy.
Now imagine if you were already overloaded, and then all of a sudden you were like, what if I become obsessed with wrestling again for a little bit? And that's where I'm at. Because now I'm like, I want to know everything about these people. Like, I want to watch little documentaries about Cody Rhodes and see what was going on with his life. And like, oh, he went to Japan for a while and he joined a group called the Bullet Club. They seem neat. And I'm like, oh, Super Eye Patch.
Oh, they have cool
t-shirts
about
the Bullet Club. They have really cool. They do this cool thing with guns. And there's like there's just a bunch of dudes, and they're just mean. And I love that. I'm like, let me watch things about a bunch of mean dudes.
I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I think even like the, people in our chat will feel this way too. Like, I think back to like Halo 3 when Halo 3 came out, and like the entire world is focused on this one game. You go to the midnight release, you play Halo. That's all anybody talked about for at least like a month, probably, maybe even longer. Now it's like, oh, Dragon's Dogma 2 came out this week. Everybody's talking about this week. Next week's the next big thing. I was like, holy, like you can't even relax. Even as a customer, like I feel like the people in chat like who like to play games like are like. This is actually a video topic that I was thinking about doing for Unpacked. Is like I feel like the games industry is like built on FOMO, fear of missing out. Like you have to be there at day one. You have to be there at day one. It's like they build all their marketing around it. They build their sales around it. Everything is you have to be there on day one.
That's a trick of capitalism.
Yes,
because prior to like being paid to work in the industry, I read all the things about all the stuff that was coming out and happening, but I definitely did not feel the need to buy all the things as they were coming out. Like I would get to the things that like resonated with me over time as I guess as more of a civilian. But even then, like before I was getting paid to do any of this stuff, I was still like a hyper consumer of it to the point where like I played a lot of stuff. It was just later.
Yeah.
It was just after, it had left this conversation, but I was still tuned in and listening to those conversations.
But there's like certain, like I am so glad I was there for the first handful of weeks for Elden Ring. Like there's a couple games where like being a part of that early conversation is like kind of
like that's like the true experience almost, because I feel that way about Tunic.
Sure, yeah, and you like want to be there, and there's a couple of those games that are sort of the mystery box games, like Outer Wilds or The Witness, and I feel similarly about that. I felt that like last year with Void Strangers, I just didn't have anyone to talk about with. I kept finding things. I was like, who do I talk to? If I bring it up to the group thread, they'll just just take me out of it. They'll start a side thread.
Marty's talking about voids again. Let's get him
He's talking about voids. Get him out of here.
Well, that's the funny thing for me is like I really like movies, but I have no problem waiting to watch Dune until it comes out at home. But games and all that, like I have a serious issue where like that game looks interesting. I need it now. I'm not going to play it for 4 months probably. and that's just me as like an average consumer, not even the media me, where the media is me is like in my head I'm like I have to check this out now because I need something to talk about on the podcast next week,
right?
Or I'm just a sad sack of shit that just sat in looking at the ceiling all week and like I don't know what to do, I'm broken.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. Honestly, I want that person on the podcast as well. But no, it's I don't know. It's tough to sort of on one hand, like the rational side of me is like it's like we said, it's just like these consumables, and if you don't get to it, you don't get to it, and get to it. Like art's not going to get worse. Like get to it when you get to it, and enjoy it when you do, and like. We we don't associate with people who would be if someone was like I finally got around to Elden Ring, none of our responses would be like what the fuck took you so long. It would be met with excitement, right? It'd be like hell yeah, like what do you want to talk about? Yeah, but also like it's hard to if someone right now was like I finally started playing Tears of the Kingdom, I'd be like hell yeah. But if we started to have an in-depth conversation, I'd be like I forgot about a lot of that game from a year ago because it was
a year ago.
Yeah. There's been 10,000 stories since
you just don't get to digest it anymore.
No, and that's the same. Someone was like, I watched Andor season 1. I'd be like, man, that show was great. Here's the things I remember from it because it's not fresh in my head. Whereas I'm halfway through 3 Body Problem right now, and I just want to talk about all these bodies. Let me tell you, let's never fucking talk to space. Nothing good happens in space. If the show's teaching me anything, don't send any messages to space. Don't take any messages from space. Let's just
I think
not
that having time to digest it part is kind of like one of the big things that I think just stresses me out in particular because Frost and I were playing Bully yesterday on stream, and we were kind of talking about how when the original Gears of War came out, and that Christmas I got Gears of War, Mass Effect, and Viva Pinata, and like I remember all 3 of those games very fondly. I remember playing them. I remember what they're about. I remember what I did in them. These days, like even games that I really enjoy, I have to be moved on to the next thing so quickly that I'm like I forgot what I did in it. Weirdly enough, like I remember a lot of things I did in Starfield, and even that I got bored of. So,
but there's also the one thing games have is sometimes abstaining is the right decision with something like Cyberpunk.
Yep.
If you held out for a few years, you probably had an incredible first experience. If you jumped into Phantom Liberty, was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the big update thing. A lot of games do that. A lot of games, launch in sort of a rocky state, and a little while later are much more fun. And so that's kind of do I want to be there day one if the theater's also on fire? Like, weighing what's the most important thing to me?
Yeah, I think the hard part for me is like, and I think this is more a job related thing. It's just like I have to get through this game. It's part of my job to play this game and get through it, and then I know I need to move on to the very next thing. Because like I'm having that problem with Final Fantasy Rebirth right now, which I really really enjoy, but just like I just got done. No, I'm in the carnival area now.
Gold Saucer, hell
Gold
yeah!
Saucer.
Did you meet Dio? Big muscles.
I did meet Dio. I was very the musical thing that happens right when you get there. I was like, what is going on here? And then
what if that was what Disneyland was like when you go there? You have to do.
I don't know if I wanted to turn into a murder mystery right after
with a big muscular naked Walt Disney.
Yeah, but yeah, like I'm really enjoying the game. It's just like having the mental capacity to sit down and complete it. But there's so much other stuff we got to look at. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And like, first world problem, or don't believe the hype, blah blah blah. It's like, well,
no, don't say it in that voice. That's true. It is 100% a first world problem.
Also, don't believe the hype, but also it is part of our job. Where we kind of
get paid to do. It's hard.
Three of us just got on here and didn't have any opinions on anything. It's like, well, that's not good.
See you later. I'm the kids canceling that Patreon. You guys are boring.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
I did not have to do any work in relation to Unicorn Overlord. I thought about it. I wasn't asked to, right? But I thought about it. But I was having so much fun that like something in my brain went like, I don't want to turn this into work. Like I feel like it would somehow sully it if I then had to start thinking and then writing and producing something that was going to come from it. But now I feel like I'm betraying myself because I still haven't finished it yet. like it's probably my favorite thing I've played all year so far. And like, this is the thing that has kept me from starting up Dragon's Dogma 2. Because like, that was the thing I was fully excited for.
Yeah, you were like crazy out for it.
I was like, Dragon Dog was going to take the world by storm. Like, just looking at the trailer, like this.
You and Frost. I don't think either of you played it. You were like the biggest.
I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah. And then I got excited for it at the very last minute, and then I burnt out on it.
Yeah, you did the thing where you had like too much sugar on Christmas Eve, and you got too excited, and then you threw up in the morning like I did.
Listen. Here's the thing. I think I have found my Achilles heel for games. You take me to a desert, and I check out. I am just immediately
the Tatooine effect.
Yes, deserts. Stop putting deserts. I'm gonna make a video about this. Stop
putting. You know what's under the gold saucer?
It's so fucking boring. No, please not a desert.
It's a desert. It's coral.
Atlas Fallen is like 80% desert.
I know.
What are some good deserts?
They let you skate on it. It's cool.
Okay, Atlas Fallen's a good desert. Journey's a great desert.
Yeah, they let you skate on that too. There's a theme here.
But
Tatooine in 2 of the movies. Tatooine, when used in A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, was a cool desert. Everything after that's too much desert. TMD. There's a desert in Earthbound that's cool. You can get heat stroke. What other games allow you to be a child who can get heat stroke?
I think that they might be alone in that.
Yeah, no one's brave enough to do that.
I like Journey. Journey has a good desert because doesn't take you very long to get through that game.
No, the game is 90 minutes.
It was 90 minutes. About 90 minutes in the desert. There's a reason nobody goes and visits deserts. They die in them. It's boring.
There are people
Lawrence of Arabia. I think deserts are gorgeous on film.
That's
Dune. Oh my god.
Yeah, but there's giant sandworms.
Yeah, you don't know what's under our normal deserts.
I don't want to know.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen Dune. Dune's coming to VOD soon.
When?
You guys gonna watch it?
I'll see it.
Yes,
yeah,
I'll watch it then.
Okay,
I watched the first one via VOD. So
I maintain that I do not like going to theaters because I hate hearing people crunch their stupid snacks around me when I'm trying to be immersed. I'm a snob about it. Leave me alone.
What sort of like?
Don't ask.
what sort of like crunchers do they just, does your theater just sell chips?
Like
People-
big ass
people-
bags of Lay's.
People get their candy bags and just sit there and do this the whole time. It sounds great, doesn't it, Chad? Don't you love it?
No, everything's muffled. It sounds
Yeah,
like
we-
you're eating underwater.
Fuck. Well, I tried.
I like being amongst the people. I'm a man of the people. If they say one thing about me, they say there went Marty, a man of the people.
I don't want to experience my movies around other people. Just
Man,
You-
that's crazy.
no, I-
what about spooky
you-
films and
even
comedies?
if I get married and have kids, like I'm sitting down to watch a movie. Get the hell out of here.
That's being a bad partner and a bad father, I think.
Yeah, you're not gonna stay married or have
That's
kids.
bad.
very long.
I can't be immersed.
Wait, so movie theater.
Yeah.
You're just a dry guy? You're not eating, drinking anything?
No.
I don't
What
do
is that noise?
Is that Eric,
Eric?
doing that?
Eric, I swear to
Rick.
Christ. I'm gonna find
See,
you.
you don't like it either.
No, that was different.
No,
Eric
it
just-
wasn't.
I'm
Eric
not
just did the
performing at the
soundboard
movie theater.
thing. Eric just did the soundboard thing.
I'm not performing.
No, it
That's
has
what
to
Marty's
prove
upset
you.
about.
Oh my God. Sean Harriman says, Marty, should I see the Darren Aronofsky short film at the Sphere while in Vegas next weekend? Yes, please. And give me a detailed synopsis of it. That's what I just, all I want to do is live in the Sphere.
Yeah, I gotta see that sphere.
Look, I crunched a bag, and this annoying patron is now looking for French fries. It's Max. Max is looking for French fries.
Nick, can we expense trips to the Sphere as like a team building exercise?
The sphere.
The
Vegas
Sphere
Sphere.
in Las Vegas.
Oh, are there people crunching snacks in there?
If you
I
want
mean-
them to be.
You do
No.
concerts, so it'd be like Irish snacks. We'll ask Darren what sort of Irish snacks there are. I want to know what Darren. Well, Casey, if you go to the movie theater, you don't go to the movie theater that often, but if you do, like what? Say like World's Your Oyster. You bring snack. You getting snacks? Say I'll give you like a
Like,
$50. Be like, what do you want to?
Like if we really are like, oh, we're gonna do some food stuff at the movie theaters, like we'll sneak our own shit in there. Like I
I always do
don't
the
pay
same
for
thing.
movie
Yeah.
concessions.
Well, candy, I will. You can't sneak popcorn in, right? Popcorn's like
No, yeah, I mean I don't eat popcorn
Do you like movie theater?
personally.
in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just all in the teeth. But
Yeah.
but like yeah, like we'll sneak like dumb shit like candy bars and
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go to like a Walgreens or a Target or something nearby, and like that shit's always like $1.50 as opposed to $5, $6,
Yeah,
$7.
right.
at the theater.
But
So
in most cases, I'll sit down and just watch the movie and get out. I'm not a big eater while I'm in a movie theater. When I watch stuff at home, always eating.
have you-
But that's me too. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. I am eating. It's everybody
Yeah.
else.
It's for, I mean, no, I get that too. Yeah, like and generally speaking, I would want the place to myself. Like I just know that's
Yeah.
not like a real possibility. Like I like 2 weeks ago, I didn't even talk about this. I went to a rock concert. I went to see Group Love live.
oh, nice.
And you told
It was
everybody else to get out.
I couldn't. It's a concert. I love Group Love. They're a great band. They did a great show. I was miserable because there were so many people in there, and I was just annoyed by that the whole time. So like, I'm not a concert guy. I can't do it.
I don't like concerts either.
You're gonna love the apocalypse.
I do
When
like.
all the people are
I like small scale live music venues. I don't like concerts.
Yeah, if I had like my own space, then like that's better. But it was like there was humans around.
Mosh pit.
You don't like being asses to ankles.
No, not at all.
Well, you gotta bring snacks with you everywhere you go. You can make friends with snacks. Did we solve the problem with too much stuff? I feel like we solved
No.
it, right?
No.
We gave everyone some clear, actionable items, and everyone will be able to live, like they'll be able to sleep easy
You-
with the tips we gave them.
No, honestly, the real answer is don't worry about it.
He's just,
Like,
he's
just-
just
I mean,
living
the real
in
answer is
decision.
no word. I was like, so I finished the first half of Delicious and Dungeon, and I was like, all right,
Mm.
my anime, I'm gonna wait until the second half of it is done airing because for some reason I don't watch Anime Weekly, and I'm like, okay, what do I move on to now? And then I was looking at Solo Leveling, and I was looking at
No.
Frieren.
No,
Solo-
you know what you're supposed to move on to, Marty.
I mean, the thing I moved on to is not what I'm supposed to move on to. Because I moved on to rewatching Odd Taxi.
Of course, you
because
did.
the Odd Taxi live action debuted.
Wait, that's out?
I believe the first episode is out. Yeah, and
Where is-
that is
Where is that?
I think it's on a whole Crunchers roll. I think
Crunches roll.
a big Crunchers roll. I think so. I've only seen literally all I've seen from it. Was the thing I'm supposed to watch Gurren Lagann?
Casey,
You're supposed to watch Gurren Lagann, yes.
we can't emphasize with Marty here. Marty chooses to revisit things he's already seen and played, and then goes, "I don't have time for new things."
No. I mean, yes.
But he is not allowed in this conversation.
But no, because I wanted to rewatch Odd Taxi because the Odd Taxi live action, without spoiling things, like a live action version side story. It's a side story because it's about passengers in his car or detectives. I think it's about two detectives trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. It makes sense without spoiling things, Casey, why there would be a live action version of this, right?
It makes sense why there would be.
It feels like a live action version of Odd Taxi could be in conversation with the anime, correct?
You mean as a companion piece, not as like a retelling? Okay.
Yeah, it makes more so than like, you know how they did they did like the Death Note live action or whatever. You're all just like, oh, these are trying to, or even One Piece, or even like Yu Yu Hakusho,
yeah,
or Avatar. Whereas a live action spin-off of Odd Taxi, you're like, oh, I could see this being a thing that exists side by side. And that's really interesting because Odd Taxi, like that and Sunny Boy, were like, those are my two goats from the last few years.
Okay, yeah. If it's not retelling that story, because that does make sense.
Yeah,
because you already kind of know the thing.
Yeah.
So if it's giving you like maybe additional context, then sure.
I understand all of what was talked about here.
You just want Odd Taxi. You can't even handle an Odd Taxi. You just want pleasant. You just want fucking pleasant Uber.
I want odd Uber.
Odd Uber. True Mando with a $2 dono. Thank you so much for that excellent Marty impression from Nick. Fuck off.
It was spot on. Soundboard that shit. Soundboard that.
Are you gonna do? Are you gonna do an anime soon?
Me?
You gonna watch an anime? Yeah, you.
I need to go. It's another thing I didn't finish. I got really into Attack on Titan, and then I just dropped it.
Hey, I still haven't finished the last 45 minutes of
you
it.
Bastard! You said on
I'm
a podcast for weeks talking about how excited you were about this.
I was, and then it came, and I was too excited.
Have you even watched Avatar: Way of Water yet?
No.
You're such
It's my deathbed movie. I'm not dying yet, dude.
Fucking fake.
What do you mean a fake? I've been honest.
Hyped that movie up for weeks and never watched it.
It's called being good PR. Just because you're PR doesn't mean you have to consume the thing. Big Jim sent me my check afterwards.
Anytime you're hyped about something, though, I know not to pay attention to you. You won't even.
No, that can't be true.
He was hyped about the Final Fantasies, and then
let's
played all of that.
All right, unless it's JRPG or Nintendo. If he's hyped about anything else, he will never get to it.
That's not true. I'm excited about who Kojima's going to host at his offices soon. They're very nice offices, let me say.
We'll go someday.
Yeah, Nick. Oh, you mean maybe I'll go again someday? I haven't been to this new office.
Kojima has your soul? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I've been to his old office before the Soul Sucker came. It was weird.
Kojima has best friend Calandra on speed dial to go check out.
Not your best friend. Kojima handed me a lunch bento box.
You can't be friends with Kojima until he takes your soul. That's the new rule.
How do you know he hasn't already?
Because you're still here.
Dang it.
If you showed up as like one of the preppers in fucking Death Stranding 2, we go down to your bunker and it's a hologram of you being like, well, so the thing about the Halo TV show. I'm not doing the side quest. I'm just saying.
No, I was gonna say you'll know he got my soul when the next time you see one of those pictures where he's a bunch of the famous people, you just see me in the corner going, hey.
Just a little in the corner doing a wave. Let's talk about what we've been playing / watching /
We just did. We haven't played or watched anything.
Eaten. I got a bunch, dude. I have so many. You know what? As the only person here who carries the indie torch flag, unlike you two fucking AAA snobs, I got 3 indies to recommend to people. 1, Yellow Taxi Go Vroom. Boom. Just came out. It is a 3D platformer that has sort of N64 vibes to it, but you play a little remote control car. And so it's like pretend you're Mario, but you are a little car.
Everything back to Nintendo. Everything ties back to Nintendo.
Because
You have a
Mario
problem.
is the
You have a
fuck- no.
problem.
Mario
Nintendo's
is
great.
like core DNA of video game.
No more DNA.
It is.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, look at Yellow Taxi Go Vroom. Tell me that doesn't look like a Nintendo game. I've only put like an hour into it. I think it is delightful. And it is also you wrapping your head around controlling an easy to control car while also having a 3D sort of platformer collectathon. So that is Yellow Taxi Go Vroom. I've also played about 2 hours of Children of the Sun, which is that was a game we talked about a little while ago. It was revealed during Steam Next Fest, the most recent one. That is the Devolver Digital kind of sniper puzzle game that it takes a violent action and turns it into a puzzle game in the same way that like it scratches some of the same itches as like Super Hot or like Hitman Go, if you guys ever played that, which I really like how they took the core idea of what, you know, a shooter or a stealth game is about, and then extract one single element of it and then turn the rest of it into a puzzle game. Extremely stylish. The puzzles are very satisfying. However, I am curious. He's not on the podcast right now. Frost is like, have you gotten to this thing yet? And vaguely, I was like, I have not. He's like, okay, I want to know if you've gotten to this thing because I feel like everyone's opinion will hinge on this thing. And so that is a vague way of me saying I don't know. Maybe there is something that will, and he hasn't told me if it'll teeter me one way or the other. So I'll probably finish it this weekend because it's pretty short. And then the last game I'm recommending, 20 Small Mazes. You know what I realized about myself? I like mazes.
You like mazes?
I'm a big maze guy. Like, do you guys
do you like crosswords too?
No, my thing is I'm not
cardigans.
crazy about crosswords or word searches. I think there's three types of people in the world. I think there's crossword people, I think there's word search people, and I think there's maze people. And I think I'm a maze person.
I feel like there should be more things than that.
Yeah, what about Waldo people?
That's
actually
pretty much
do-
a word search. Replace the words with
It's a man search.
Man, sir.
As you can see here, this is a free game available on Steam. Just a word of warning, do not play this on a Steam Deck. There are certain things you're going to need keyboard and mouse for. But the way this works, there are, as the name implies, there are 20 small mazes. The mazes are like thrown into a pile, and you're sort of, or you can move the pile to the side. You could be like, all right, I want to drag and drop these mazes over here and then focus on this maze. Each maze has a like a twist or a thing to it. Like maybe the maze is about changing the gravity of the maze, and so that your thing kind of falls down. Or maybe the maze is about, oh, you can destroy a certain number of walls of the maze. Or maybe the maze has a secret to it that you need to like view from a specific angle. It is really, I have not played anything else like this to where it feels like someone just threw a stack of puzzles down and are sort of like the puzzles are interlinked and try to figure out how while solving the individual puzzles. And I really fucking love it.
Really cool. Yeah, that
it is really cool.
Brilliant.
It takes like I think that'd be a great game for you guys to stream on a Friday. Honestly, like this is a fun, like there's like certain like, oh my god, pull the maze back. Like, oh, pull that one green maze back because that might have things in that maze that allow you to solve the first maze. Like, oh, there's a solution in this maze that you can get from another one. So
I have a hot take.
Are you anti-maze?
No. I have a hot take that puzzle games are the worst games to stream because people in chat just sit there and give you the answers when you don't ask for them.
Well, it's bad to stream with a bad audience.
Well, so
they try to help, but they just give you the answer. Nobody wants help when they're playing puzzle games unless they ask for it.
I feel like
I love you, chat. But
I feel like folks from our community have been really good about that.
Yes.
Because like me and my fiance have been playing Baba Is You, and folks, honestly, I don't think a lot of people have played that game. Honestly, so like we'll be sitting there all collectively trying to figure out what the F is going on.
It was
together.
like, what do you want from me right now?
Yeah.
So like that, like honestly, without some of their help, like we'd have been like way more stuck.
And has it been a similar thing on the few Mondays where you guys have been doing Void Strangers, which is obviously a puzzle game that has a very fervent small community behind it?
Yes, similar thing. Like folks will try to help, but there's also the thing of those puzzles are in such a way where like trying to read the directions of them, especially with the delay that a stream presents, is impossible. Like no one in chat can actually help us that much.
Yeah,
it's near impossible.
There's also the delay aspect of it.
Yeah.
The other part of streaming puzzle games is the performance anxiety.
I mean, that's why you have like help. Like it was me, Jesse, and Jess kind of all doing it together, and we got through a good amount.
They need a
I thought our
Viagra
Portal
for
streams
puzzle
went well,
games.
right?
Yeah, Portal did go well. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite puzzle game, Nick? I don't have an answer. I'm not like putting you in a corner. I don't know what my favorite puzzle game is. It might be The Witness. Oh my god, do I just like mazes? Is it Witness?
The Witness is just all mazes. Yeah,
it says oops, all mazes.
Do I have a favorite puzzle game?
I mean, Portal feels like an easy answer. I mean,
Mine-
not in a bad way.
Well, does this count? Heroes of Might and Magic. That one's kind of like
the DS
it's like
one?
It was on a bunch of things. I remember.
Oh,
But like, yeah, it was like a competitive sort of because it's head to head, right? But you have to like make stacks and strategize in the
that's a
counts?
puzzle. Yeah, that feels the way I was describing Children of the Sun, Super Hot, and Hitman Go, where it feels like it takes action sensibilities and distills it into a puzzle format, which I really like.
Yeah. I was addicted to that for a long while. They actually re-released it not that long ago. Like
I saw that, and I didn't buy it.
What would we consider like the indie side scrollers that have puzzle? Like, would you consider
like
those
puzzle
games?
platformers?
Puzzle platformers, yeah. I think I prefer more those than hardcore puzzle games.
What? I feel like
Little
there's certain
Nightmares,
games. Like what?
like Little Nightmares or Inside.
That feels like it's too much. Like
Yeah, they lean a lot more on like atmosphere and narrative. Like there are puzzles in them, but they don't feel like a purely puzzle experience.
like there's elements. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown from earlier this year has distinct puzzle rooms that have really amazing puzzles, but I wouldn't call that game a puzzle game. Like those puzzles are amazing, and I would literally play a game that is just those. But I feel like there's enough kind of around it. Yeah, Chance of Xenar, I would say, is definitely that's real.
Yeah, I'm
real
like looking
brain
through our Steam library at the puzzle games, and I think I have come to the realization I don't know if I really like games that are just puzzles.
What if you played 20 Small Mazes? What if you realized?
Yeah, give it a shot.
Maybe you like mazes.
Like I think mobile puzzle games are fun. Puzzles and bite-sized fun, but I don't know if like I've ever, because I haven't finished Portal 2.
These are 20 small. You haven't finished Portal 2.
No, I haven't. I
What's
think
wrong with you?
the most the most recent puzzle game that I've gone through and played all of it and finished it back to back is Maquette.
Maquette
Maquette?
was no Maquette.
What is he?
Maquette.
Oh, Maquette. Okay.
Yeah, that the game with like all the different
Yeah, you're holding
Like,
a little
with
box,
the
and turns out you
perspective.
are in the little box.
the perception game. I
Yeah.
guess we'd call it.
No, but seriously, like, what the fuck? Why didn't you play Portal 2? What are you doing? Don't play anything else.
I've
Finish
played most
Portal
of
2.
it. I just never finished it.
Fucking do it again.
Did you get stuck? Is that what happened?
I don't
Too
know.
scary?
I think
Did you get scared?
if I recall, how late did Portal 2 come out with the last
2011.
generation?
Next generation? I mean, it was 2011. I don't know when. That was just
Well,
mid generation.
Yeah, no idea.
You can admit it if it was too scary.
No, it was not scary. I don't remember why I didn't finish it because I loved it.
It's the second time today I've accused you of being scared of a game that's not scary. I did it during that indie stream earlier. You were like, I didn't like blank, and I was like, oh, it's probably because it was too scary.
2011 would have been like Call of Duty phase for me, where I didn't play anything else, and like if I tried a game and I like, it's okay, but it's not Call of Duty.
This is taking too long. I'm not shooting enough.
I get enough kill streaks. I can't send the dogs on this place. Yeah, those are the big things I've played. I talked about 3D Body Problem, which is I'm halfway through. I think it's really good. I recommend it to anyone. That's the Benioff and Weiss, the folks behind Game of Thrones. Their adaptation on Netflix of the acclaimed Chinese novel trilogy about sort of taking place over a couple generations of humanity sent a message out into the stars, and the response they got was, do not answer this, because if you do, you will be fucking invaded. And the person was like, what if I do answer it? Counterpoint, what if I do? And then it's like, well, 40 years later, you're like, oh shit, I think we're getting invaded. Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
From the trailers for 3 Body Problem, it looks like a very is the show like does the show make sense when you watch it? Because it gives me like Inception vibes, or like I have to like sit there or is the story actually like
5
simple?
episodes in, everything has made sense.
Okay.
They have not. Nothing has thrown a curveball at me that I just haven't been able to understand.
Okay.
Even within episodes, it'll be like, how do these two things connect? And then by the end of the episode, you're like, oh, this is how these
Yeah, because
connect.
the trailer is interesting me, but then as I've like when I would watch the trailers, I'm like, this seems like a lot.
There's a lot of layers to it because there's a couple separate timelines, and then there's like a whole VR thing to it. Like they communicate with the aliens via this VR headset. And so there's like the trailers might make it seem like there's a lot going on, and there is a lot going on. But John Lee says, "Did I read the book?" No, because books are for nerds. No, I do not. I own all 3 of the books, and I should read them, but I did not. I believe Darren did because Darren wrote some excellent columns for us.
Ooh.
One about sort of the impact of the novels and sort of modern Chinese literature and art, and then another about 3 Body Problem, the show. So I think it's cool.
On my list. It's on my list to watch.
Yeah, and that's one of those that's all they dropped it all at once, much like Fallout tonight. But yeah, what about you guys? What have you guys been watching?
I mean, still loving Shogun. I'm sad that it's gonna be over soon because it's just so damn good.
Not me. I get to start it soon. That's what that means.
I mean, it's gonna be done in less than 2 weeks. So if you want to, I don't know how quickly you watch things, but like you could.
Wait, they're gonna pull it? You mean?
No. As in the finale,
right.
The second to last episode will be in a week, and then.
All right. Yeah, I could probably start it already. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Chad is very angry at me for not finishing Portal 2.
That seems absurd. Like that seems like that is one of those games that's like, I don't know, just it's really, and also the ending's really good.
It's a great game.
Probably
the best ending in a game.
2011. Yeah. Okay, so that actually lines up because 2011 was still 2011 was still the time that like I wasn't like expanding my game horizons. Like I was covering games by 2011 because I started covering games in 2009, but I was still like I was just covering them. I wasn't like I wasn't getting review copies out of all kinds of different stuff, and like my gaming tastes were still very much centralized on Call of Duty, Gears of War, Halo. That was sports games, that kind of stuff. 2012 is
games.
Oh yeah, I played all kinds of sports games growing up, and racing games too. Like I was very much the mainstream, normie gamer. But 2012 hit, and that's when I started Only SP. And one of the very first review copies I got was for Darksiders 2. And after that, that's when my gaming tastes really started to change, and I started to explore all kinds of different stuff because it was like, oh, this was a game. Yeah, well, this is like a game. I like Darksiders 1. I probably would have loved because I loved God of War, but I just didn't play it because it wasn't God of War, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like.
No, I totally get that. So like,
yeah,
obviously, like 2011, you weren't into this kind of stuff. 2012, you expanded your horizons. It's been 12 fucking years, Nick. Why have you not played Portal 2?
I've been so busy.
You've been so busy for a fucking dozen years?
Yeah.
That game's like 8 hours long. What are we doing?
Oh man,
what are we as a society do? I think there is one point where the lights go out, and I think it's too scary.
It might have, it might have been too that I hated physics in high school because I couldn't do the equations, and I think I know where I stopped. I think I stopped when you got to the goo sliding stuff.
I feel like you would, if you go back to it now, you would love everything with Cave Johnson.
Like, yeah, no, I liked it. Like I didn't have a problem with the game. I just stopped playing it.
I don't know. I'm throwing stones in glass houses because the amount of like canonical games I haven't played is very high.
Yeah, everybody has their blind spots. It's fine.
Stephen Brown says Nick will play Portal 2 when Half-Life 3 comes out. There you go. There's your answer.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
It's all on Valve. Valve decides my fate.
Yeah, that's true.
That's for most of us, honestly.
Yeah, quite literally.
Gabe, we trust. You been watching, playing anything else? You don't have to have. Like, we're not gonna judge you.
Yeah, you are. You've been judging me the whole stream for not playing Portal 2.
But at the same time, I'm very self-aware, and there's like a million things to judge me on. That's fine.
No, I really didn't get around to playing much this week.
You watch WrestleMania this weekend?
I didn't. I have no love for wrestles.
Oh my god, it's wonderful. I thought a couple of folks were gonna kiss, and they had such a good time.
No, I have gone back to comfort food TV for the moment as I get out of this like burnout of playing and watching too many things of going back to the league.
Whatever makes you feel good.
Nick,
I don't get it, but whatever makes you feel
I
good.
love it.
Nick held us hostage in DC.
You were laughing at that
forced it
show.
on-
You liked it. Don't you start with me. Jesse Schwab was losing his shit at that show.
I am not Jesse Schwab. There's that.
You
But
also were
also,
losing your shit.
I like Nick Kroll. I think Nick Kroll's a great actor. His character in that show though is a little insufferable.
Oh yeah, that's his whole point. He's an asshole. He's just
Yeah, some people find that
asshole.
funny,
Yeah.
and others don't.
I love it. He's such a sarcastic asshole. Those are my favorite characters. No,
Is
no
John
relation.
Mulaney on the show? Because him and Nick Kroll are buds. Does he have a show?
I didn't see him in anything. Oh, Jason Montezakis is on that show, and that guy is hilarious in everything.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
yes, I was laughing because Nick was specifically putting episodes with him in it. So, yes, I was laughing at Jason Montezakis because I love that guy.
We showed him that there's an episode with Seth Rogen. It's Seth Rogen and the guy Casey just mentioned. I always forget his name. But-
I don't want to correct anyone. His name is Jason Mantzoukas.
Mantzoukas. Okay,
Jason
sorry.
Mantzoukas.
Okay.
I knew that wasn't right. So they have an episode together where Seth Rogen in the league is Dirty Randy. He's like this super famous, not famous at all, but famous porn star.
Oh, I thought you were going to say wrestler. And I was like,
No.
I was excited.
And their friend gets murdered. So the whole episode is them going on this road trip to go kill the guy that murdered their friend.
I realized I don't think I know what the show is. Is it a revenge show?
No, that's just one episode. It's like a little side story that they did. The show makes no sense. There's nothing going on in that show.
It's a very
just
low
funny.
budget comedy. Like it's like if The Hangover was made for TV, and also they had very little funding. That's
really
what the series is.
selling it hard.
that's what I'm saying. Like
it's very much. It's like the funding of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's that kind of show.
yeah, but the writing is way better, and it's always
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, those
The
guys are
writing
like
is way better.
savants. Like
Yeah.
that cast is.
The
yeah.
league is stupid humor. At least It's Always Sunny. Is
Yeah,
like
it's
stupid, but
immature
smart
humor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's of
no,
an era.
it's no Blue Mountain High.
Yeah,
That guy really wants to play.
the
That guy
league
really
is-
wants to play Batman.
The league is much more about the hijinks more than it is, highbrow humor. And
You would
that's
love
always gonna-
wrestling then. Wrestling's all about the hijinks.
Wrestling. No, I can't. When I found out,
were you
as a
ever
kid,
into it?
No, when I was as a kid, dumb kid, when I didn't realize WWE wasn't real.
You know what else isn't real? Everything.
UFC is real to a
I don't want to watch
disgusting
that. They're just
degree.
hurting each other.
I know. I
This
can't
is-
watch.
Let
I
me
can't
tell
watch
you,
UFC anymore.
Hold on.
I am fucking into wrestling now, and I'm going back through like lore. And being like, what happened to Seth Rollins? Oh my God, they were part of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were in a group called The Shield, and they were like tight as hell, and they used to take road trips together. And then Seth Rollins hit him in the back with a chair, and that was echoed 10 years later, and that is why Roman Reigns lost the main event, was because he couldn't get over his best friend fucking him over. My God, that's cinema. That is Martin Scorsese holding his hands up and saying cinema. Beautiful. I'm probably never going to talk about wrestling again, but let me tell you
Chet's
right
like
now,
movies and TV aren't real. I like real sports.
it's not sports; it's sports entertainment.
I know.
Yeah, it's-
I can't
like,
get past that.
I
I'm
see.
weird.
I
I'm
get
weird,
the
I'm fine.
appeal. Like I was way into it as a kid as well. And I knew it wasn't like real, like that. But it's entertaining. Like it's a melodrama, right?
It's absolutely with like fucking like chiseled gods.
And like and I would really love when they would do like the kind of luchador, like Rey Mysterio and like
He
the
fought
guys, like,
his
did-
son at WrestleMania. His son's a real shithead. Well, at least the character. The son's their whole feud is like, you were a bad dad.
that's like that shit is hilarious. In
Yeah.
all honesty,
And I'm like, Rey
like-
Mysterio, you are kind of old. You should not be doing this.
but he can still do it. And that's
still
super
good at it.
impressive.
Yeah.
like it goes so
Yeah.
long. Like Undertaker was like 60 something, body slamming.
He
himself
showed
and-
up there. He showed up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I saw the clips. Like they're so
Yeah.
old, and they love it so much. Like you gotta respect it.
Yeah, just something I never got into.
No, I'm not. I would never recommend wrestling to anyone. Never. But let me tell you, I had such a good time watching it this weekend.
Yeah, I feel like I really missed out seeing all the talk.
I
on
do,
it
I
social
do,
media.
yeah, I do like remember playing like WWE SmackDown versus Raw. Like I think that game came out in like 2003.
There you go. We need to find. What if we next WrestleMania we just do a live stream of it, and then the channel gets taken down forever. But
Yeah,
our
'cause
last
that's
stream is
illegal.
us watching WrestleMania together, or we plan Adventurous Night Season 5 WrestleMania weekend so that Sunday night we can all watch it together.
I like this idea.
Think about that. Who says no? Casey, what do you got going on?
I have no idea, but I will cancel it for this.
Perfect. What have you been watching and playing?
Oh, me? Oh yeah, like I mentioned earlier, like I started watching with my fiance this Apple TV series called Loot, starring Maya Rudolph. It's got it's got Ron Funches in it, who I know. It's got a lot of other people who I do not know. And Adam Scott shows up here and there. Like he plays. Well, the premise is Maya Rudolph has divorced her billionaire husband. He's like kind of a tech guru-esque guy, and she and he kind of built up their billions together. Like they were a married couple, and like she kind of supported him when he was like a no-named whatever, but he's a genius, helped him like financially took care of him, and they built up billions together. And then he cheats on her at this big public thing, and so she splits from him. They didn't have a prenup, so she walks away with like $87 billion. And so she's in her, all right, I'm a single, 50-something-year-old billionaire. What do I do with the rest of my life? Turns out at some point, this sort of humanitarian foundation was set up in her name, and they basically call her and say like, hey, we could use you here since like we basically run off of your money to do some good in the world. And it's like Maya Rudolph, who's sort of like this eccentric billionaire, being shown what humanity is like nowadays by like her staff under her who are trying to like use her money to do good. And it's this back and forth between her being like out of touch with reality and them really trying to like help the downtrodden. And the show has a great premise. Like they're really trying to talk about that whole like just a societal disparity thing where it's like, oh, people, these are real people,
don't realize how humans live because they're like no longer humans.
But like sadly, like it's not that funny. Like it like you can see all the outlines of like other shows that have like kind of these ensemble casts of just really likable people and like really funny scenarios. Like all the building blocks are there, but almost none of it is really like just hitting the way similar shows are set up. Like it's kind of just okay at best. And Maya Rudolph is a genius. Like she's super hilarious when she has a super hilarious script.
Yeah.
But like, and you can kind of tell when she's like just kind of doing her own thing, because like she'll start to shine a little bit, but then like when it's back in sort of like the narrative of the show, it's kind of just okay. But like I'm gonna keep watching it. I'm gonna finish it probably. But yeah, like
one of the producers is Alan Yang, or I think one of the creators is Alan Yang.
Yeah, he was a writing partner with Aziz Ansari, right?
Yeah. So he wrote on Parks and Rec, and then he was like one of the co-creators of Masters of None.
Masters of None, yeah.
I thought Master of None was like amazing.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal show.
That show.
Yeah.
Does it ever get as like Master of None had the ability to get like crazy real? Like, has this show gotten like super real at all? Like, Masters of None has some moment that like fucking like I was like, oh my god, that hit me.
Yeah.
I watched Masters of None. People really didn't like that last season.
Yeah, I didn't watch the last season actually, because like
I liked it.
It didn't follow Aziz anymore. It's following, I think, Lena.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I know. The Thanksgiving episode.
Like, it was like the friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I can't speak on the last season. I didn't see it. But yeah, I'll say they try. Like that's the thing. Like even the moments where they try to get a little more incisive or like deep about things, it feels a little muted. Like there's something missing from like the formula. So like it's generally okay, but like it's like it feels like it should be like with the premise and like the cast. This should be a better thing than it is. So a little disappointing with that.
Yeah.
But
you watch anything else besides your Formula Ones, or just dreaming about your Formula One?
Yeah, I'm just dreaming about it. I have not been able to watch.
Yeah.
But no, I have been following a lot of the rat beef that's been going on in recent news. I don't know. Like I mentioned it, I think last time Marty and I were doing a
Did you
VMC
say rap
stream.
or rat?
Rap.
Okay.
Rap.
Rat beef.
We went from mice to rats.
You went to Taco Bell and they got rat beef there. We don't want to talk about that.
So anyone who hasn't been following the drama, right? Nick, you should know the names that I'm going to speak of right now, because these are the biggest names in rap. Right?
You don't know my lack of knowledge of
you know who Drake is.
Yes.
You know who Kendrick Lamar is?
Yes.
Do you know who J. Cole is?
Not J. Crew. This is not the store where you buy like a seasonal pull-up.
I probably listen to his music. Yes. Let's say I do.
All right. So these are the three important characters in this situation, right? So Drake, who is probably the highest grossing, most popular rap star in the world right now, released an album earlier this year, had a song that featured J. Cole where they together had back and forth verses. In J. Cole's verse on this song, he basically names he names himself, he names Drake, and he calls to Kendrick Lamar, who was not on that song. He calls them the big three of rap, essentially saying like, we are the kings of the rap game right now, right?
Did Eminem have anything to say about that?
Say again?
Did
Eminem? No, he's franchising Mom's Spaghetti right now. It would be the equivalent of if on our Devil May Cry streams, Casey and I were like, the two of us and Nick, the big three. And then it got back to Nick, and Nick was like, nope, I don't want to be a part of this big three. And here's why.
Yeah, so following this essentially shout out, basically saying like, hey, shout out to us. We're so great in the game right now. Kendrick releases a verse on Future's album. I don't give a shit about Future or his music. Just this verse on the one song is important. He essentially says, fuck you guys. I'm the king of rap. We're not sharing this shit. It's all about me. And he makes his argument in his verse. He makes the argument like, you know what, Kendrick? Yes, you kind of do sound like the king of rap right now. So we're looking at Drake and we're looking at J. Cole for a response. Drake has had beefs in the past. He has had beefs in the past. He won against Meek Mill. He lost terribly against Pusha T. So no one knows if Drake is going to actually respond. Yeah. But J. Cole he's the peaceful guy. Like this was more aimed at Drake anyway. He just happened to kind of be there. No one really suspected that he would respond, but he does. He responds with a whole album. Last track, he says a bunch of stuff about Kendrick questioning like his status as king of rap, blah blah blah. And it kind of goes over like a wet fart. Like folks aren't really feeling the album. And so this past weekend, he actually apologized for the diss record. And that essentially
it was bad.
And that essentially broke all of J. Cole's fan base. Because like Drake stands, like Kendrick stands, J. Cole has a dedicated fan base who do think of him as like one of the greatest rappers to ever do it. And for him to respond to a diss that says, you're not as good as me, and then say, oh, I'm sorry I said that, essentially takes him out of contention.
And the problem is there's two sides of this. I feel of two ways about it. And one is like, you know what? I'm really impressed. You took the high road. I feel like, especially like high profile men in entertainment talking about like their emotions and their failures and stuff. That's important. Mm-hmm. And the other half of me is like, that's like a real bitch move.
That's a real bitch move. That's a real bitch
like that move.
I get it. Like that's the spin on it, right? It's like, oh, we shouldn't be dealing in beef. What's with all the aggression? Honestly, that I don't like that gets thrown on top of because what this boils down to is the competitive spirit. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's something that rap is built on, of like ciphers, people going back and forth, trading bar for bar, saying like, oh, this is how good I am. And someone's like, no, I'm better. But in lyrics, right?
Yeah.
Like Kendrick is trying to raise the bar by asking his contemporaries not to sit on their hands and just proclaim that they are the kings, but to earn it. And they said no. They said you can have it. Like, what is the rap game now? If that's what the fuck,
they're Xbox. They're saying there is no console war. You can listen to our music anywhere. Is like, Kendrick Nintendo?
He's way too aggressive to be Nintendo.
He's so angry. Like the end of Kirby, like shit gets real at the end of Kirby. So
yeah, like the rap world is on fire because of this. A lot of you guys probably don't care, but it's super interesting.
I just realized rap is wrestling.
A little bit.
Put them in WWE, and then I'll watch WWE.
Meek Mill. I mean, there's been rap has coincided with wrestling. Snoop Dogg has shown up all the time. Stone Up this weekend. Meek Mill did a little promo shot. I think it's great. I think it's great. I want to see where it goes. I also want someone. I mean, competition is good, right? Like having healthy competition. Again, I don't want this to go back to the '90s where two luminaries.
Yeah, like that. Like that was real life beef. Like, right? That's
Sure.
not rap beef. There is a difference, and like I feel like that gets conflated, right? Like so a lot of outsiders will just get scared that someone's gonna get hurt. Like no, they're musicians. Like think about it this way, right? These rappers who tell you and like have this persona of being so hood and dangerous and whatnot, they're literally making poems. Like you're gonna be scared of the guy in your class who writes poetry? That's who you're afraid of? Think about it.
Yeah, people that write poetry very well are very scary, yes. They're very good writers.
Yeah,
I'm saying that's what they spend their time doing in reality, like not not busting guns.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I love it. I want to see where this goes. I just don't. I feel like it's over.
He might have poured cold water on something because like after these tracks hit back to back, like everyone was discussing the merits of Kendrick's career, of J. Cole's career, of Drake's possible answer to this thing. Like folks were like weighing the albums, talk about the lyricism. It was like old school, like solid hip hop. It wasn't like the kind of trashy, poppy stuff that a lot of the kids and the streaming services are eating up. Like it felt like good hip hop. And like that's what
it was like three people who deserve to be in a conversation together.
Yeah.
And then now it's just like, well,
and then he just like threw water on the fire of like, hey, like let's get some semblance of like what this art really means. Like there are some folks like prolific like speakers. I don't want to say prolific, that sounds like a lot, but just people who like comment on like rap stuff in general, who are kind of saying like, hey, we might be looking at the end of like rap as we know it. Like rap as a medium that basically tells the story of like the Black diaspora and experience via America. Like that's kind of what it was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's so commercialized now because of how popular it's gotten that like it doesn't really serve that purpose anymore. So it might just be over.
Yeah, and it's all designed around nightclubs now.
Like nightclubs, album sales, like merchandise, like
dreams.
Even I've noticed that because like like Eminem or I don't listen to a ton of music in that way, but like I do remember like being able to understand the lyrics of these things and like get something of like the artist behind it.
Sure,
like
the rise of like mumblecore rap.
These days it's all just mumble
rap.
stuff. Like I'll sit on the radio, I'm like I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea what you're saying. All I hear is the beat.
I mean, that's just also us getting old. Is this just like
it's little column A, little column B?
If our parents had a podcast, would they be like, I don't know why Metallica's yelling so much?
But that's the thing. Like these are guys who are of this era. Like these guys are known today by the kids. So like them doing this today could awaken that same fire amongst the people who are listening to them today. And J. Cole essentially just says, no, I don't want to do that. And that like how are you here? Like I've never been like a big J. Cole fan. And for me, this solidifies the fact that he really doesn't need to be in this conversation. Because like someone who's like of this craft would like it's what you do as a rapper. Like if you're this high up, you say, I am the best at this and I will prove it to you. For him to basically say like, no, I don't want to do that, essentially admits defeat. Like you're not in this conversation. Get out of my face. Like it's offensive to the media, in my opinion.
We don't need to go into it, but I really wish Kanye didn't go insane. I think, man, I went all in on that guy. I would have bet everything on him like 15 years ago, and I was like, he's gonna be it. And he just kind of nuts.
Yeah, he did. It's sad.
You know what?
There's still hope. I think
there's still hope.
One day, one day,
when Mario does his iconic fist in the air, you can always get an extra life from that. A bunch of super chats.
Yes, let's go.
$2 dono for that excellent Marty impression of Nick. That was a while ago. I don't even remember what that was. That might have been when you were afraid of Portal. And then
I knew someone was going to do that.
Quintuple A with $2 for Marty's great impression of Nick. So I don't know. Put that in a museum. Ben Katz, $2 dono. Thank you so much. F those puzzle rooms in Prince of Persia. I believe there were accessibility options to skip the puzzle rooms. I want to say.
I think that's true.
I really like puzzles though.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I really like
another game I started. I keep forgetting I have it because it's on Uplay.
We also didn't talk. I guess Nick Frost and I did. Nick Frost and I. Oh, just me and the the star of Shaun of the Dead. We did a live stream of the Triple I Indie showcase earlier today.
Yeah.
It was, in terms of a showcase, it was just game after game after game. If you want a showcase that's all game and no filler, watch it. A lot of really cool looking games, not necessarily like in my genre du jour, but another Prince of Persia game is coming out
Yeah.
from the developers of Dead Cells, called the Rogue Prince of Persia.
Yeah, it's a Splinter Cell team from the Motion Twin team.
Splinter
Evil
Cell.
Empire, Splinter team.
Oh,
From
Splinter.
the Dead
I thought you said
Cells
Splinter
team.
Cell, and I was like, what?
Yeah, there's like Motion Twin and Evil Empire, like they're basically like the two split teams from the same company.
Okay, and it was the team that has sort of, it didn't like do the core development on Dead Cells, but kept it going over the years.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this was a really stylish looking, like, it was weird to get another 2D Prince of Persia game in the same, like 3-4 months after it.
It is quite odd, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, but the game looks really cool. This is just a cinematic trailer you're seeing right now. But when they show gameplay, like, this trailer conveys the art, and so it looks pretty cool.
And it looks like it's doing some stuff that you've not seen in these sorts of things before. Like the way it's incorporating wall running and platforming with the combat looks like really fluid and unique.
Yeah.
So like, I am. Like, I'm into it. Like, I'm still like looking at it.
I know it's looking, and then when it transitions to gameplay, you're like, oh wow, they kind of kept this art style in a 2D roguelike platformer. So that looks cool. But yes, everyone should also play Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Still one of my 5 favorite games of the year. Polish T with a $2 donut. Go play Portal 2, Nick. You can just put that in your editor's backlog.
I'm taking the week of the 22nd off. I'll play it then.
You'll cry. You'll have such a good time. You'll have such a good time. When you get to the
all
goo, you'll cry for other reasons. But when you get to the goo and then be like, oh, there's 2 colors of goo.
No, I got to that. I know. I remember.
Truly
that.
moving.
Blue and orange goo.
Yeah, but have you ever put a potato inside of your gun and then talk to the potato?
Yeah.
Dr. Calx with a $2 dono. Thank you so much for the vacation fun. Take breaks. Nick's gonna be taking a break soon.
Yes.
We're all gonna be taking breaks. Casey, when are you gonna take a break? I'm taking 2 breaks this year.
Nobody knows.
I'm going to the DR, and I'm going to Tokyo. Dominican Republic.
I'm jealous. I want to go to both those places.
I'm living my DR life. I'm going to buy a bunch of amiibo. I'm going to talk about weeb shit in the DR, and I'm just going to talk about island life in Tokyo.
You come back with a bunch of Dominican amiibo.
Amiibo. It's gonna be great. Anixia with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. This last WrestleMania was perfect. Also, it's a real sport. The bumps are real. It's just scripted. Think redneck soap opera. Anixia, I completely agree. Night 2, perfect night. Sunday night, the greatest Sunday night in the history of Sundays was this weekend.
You know, I don't really like watching redneck stuff because I can't get into Letterkenny either.
I'm surprised. I feel like I have not watched Letterkenny, but I feel like you would be a big Letterkenny fan.
I tried. I tried it because it's like about hockey players. I tried.
Like Canadian rednecks, though, right? Maybe you don't vibe with Canada.
No, American rednecks are so much worse.
Yeah, there you go.
I live around them. I know what they're like.
Live around. 10-7 with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. John La Jolla. Taco in the league has a music project. Wolfie's just fine after the line in Terminator 2 with rock songs about video games and movies, and it is fantastic. Who's Taco in the league?
Taco in the league is just an idiot business guy. I sent you that clip about I sent you the Shiva clip for the Sliva. Yeah, I didn't send you Taco's truck yet. I'll send you Taco's truck.
Please send me Taco's truck.
It's Taco's truck, but he doesn't sell tacos.
Because his name is Taco, but I see how that can be confusing.
I see what's going on there.
All his customers are like, I want a taco. He's like, I don't sell tacos. It says Taco's truck.
I appreciate that.
And also he calls apostrophes uppercase commas.
I don't disagree with that. That's not a bad way to call him. Also, big news, Casey. Heroes reboot just got announced.
Heroes reboot.
Heroes
the
Eclipsed. Heroes.
the Masi Oka
Yeah,
led
it's like the
series.
cheerleaders had the world.
Oh shit! Who are they?
Heroes Eclipsed by the original creator, Tim Kring.
Didn't they call something Heroes Eclipse at
Dude,
some
just keep
at
calling
some
it
point?
that.
Why is that name so familiar?
Oh, maybe they're just using the logo and I'm just calling it Heroes Eclipsed. No, Heroes Eclipsed, set years after the events of the original series, as new Evos are being awakened and discovering powers that will change their lives, featuring familiar villains and new enemies that will once again be attempting to suppress the next step in human evolution. It will be up to this new group of heroes to save the world.
Hollywood's so boring. Reboot the reboot in the Office, the reboot in Heroes. What aren't
Yeah,
they
Heroes
rebooting?
fucking ruled though, so I'm fine with this.
Heroes started off so good, but
Yeah.
like we're currently in a hero saturation phase, so I don't know how well this is gonna do.
Yeah, this was pre MCU, which is kind of why it
Yeah.
worked, because like we hadn't been inundated with heroes.
Like we didn't get TV heroes back then.
That key art does not make me watch that show.
Well, that's just that man's not going to be there in the yard. The man in the corner won't be there. He'll leave. He won't be a part of the eclipse. He can't stare at the eclipse. He doesn't have his glasses on. Eric, thank you so much for the little arses. Oh, Marty won't say fuck on stream. Interesting.
Wasn't me.
How do I end the show? I know it wasn't you. I know it wasn't you.
Don't get mad at me.
No, it wasn't you. Also, that was weird because I will absolutely say fuck on stream. What are we talking about? Like, I've never have I. I mean, sometimes I like try to not be like a little cussy, but usually I'm doing big cussies. Wood for brains with a
What a
$2
trap.
dono. That was an absolute trap. I got fucking hijacked by Eric. I got completely hijacked.
Eric, you gotta Photoshop Marty's face into that guy from Star Wars. It's a
What
trap.
guy?
It's a
Oh,
trap
Admiral
guy.
Akbar.
Akbar.
Don't call him that guy. He's a fucking admiral in the military.
I
Some
can't
respect
remember
on his
anybody's
name.
name. I don't remember my
That's
name.
our crap.
Write it down.
Wood for brains with a $2 dono. Congrats, Casey, on a great run for the Sigma show.
Oh, thank you so much. I
didn't know you were ending that.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was kind of a it's kind of a decision that was made just based on all the things that are happening. If you guys didn't know, like my weekly podcast that I did on my personal channel, the Sigma Show, has come to an end. 130 episodes in the bank. You can listen to them on your podcast listening service of choice. But yeah, I'm not doing it anymore. I have a wedding to plan. Sorry.
You know what? Sometimes love comes
All the
first.
free time you get.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yes, I mean, you're gonna need any of the free time you can get now.
Yeah, that is the plan. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have a new idea for something similar down the road sometime.
He'll still be streaming, right?
Yeah, I'll still be doing regular streams. All the other things I'm attached to, I am still doing.
No
So
wedding could
worries.
destroy Smash.
He'll be
That's
playing
like Call's
Smash
wedding,
at his
really.
wedding.
What if Sakurai comes to your wedding?
Wow, I'd be honored.
I can totally see Casey like as she's walking down the aisle, sitting up there still playing Smash.
Yeah, that's a real short wedding.
That's not gonna go well. Not gonna go well.
Your
Beast
vows will
March.
be in Smash.
Oh my god.
That'd be nice. Beast March and the Green Gang. Beef in the 90s wasn't for show. R.I.P. Biggie. That's good. I don't want people to die in this modern beef. That being said, I do want.
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah,
Like, that's
I want a little,
that's not a thing. That's never the intention.
I want a little stink behind it, though. Yeah, we can't just bow out of this. We gotta keep going.
Yeah, that's not how it's done.
And then Anixia with the $2 dono. This just in, Marty is a cussy baka.
There's
Is that
Marty
me as
Marty
is that me
Akbar.
as Marty Akbar? What's a cussy baka?
I don't know.
Is that like a Chewbacca? A cussy baka?
Let's just say yes. That sounds right. It fits the picture as well.
What do we have going on? What can folks look forward to from us cussy bakas? Casey, what should folks be paying attention to? What should folks look for?
Yeah, so my Twitch channel still alive, Sigma Gears 9. I'm still doing the wedding streams with the fiance. We're going through Baba Is You right now. The first episode we got a lot of progress. That game is like a trip, but we are having a great time. So join us for that. Super Smash Sunday is still on that channel as well. That happens in the afternoons on Sunday, so join us for that. Outside of that, I cannot talk about the next thing I have for like maybe 2 weeks or so. But a bite-sized will come from me down the road.
When we said the indie games keep coming, the indie games just keep coming. Nick
Yeah,
just put
they're
several
out there.
indie games in the was like, here's one, here's another one.
Yeah, so we'll get a bite-sized
more before the stream.
Too many.
Did you?
Yep.
So many games. Yeah, we got our Frost and I weigh in on everyone. Frost and I give our opinions of every game that gets added. Frost and I are usually on the same page with woos or boos.
Yep, I added yet another fantasy title. I added Arabin Shadow Legacy, and
you can't say these all. We don't know what the woos and the boos are. We can't be.
And
spoiling.
I added Botany Manor, which is a puzzle game which you should play, Marty.
It's already on fucking. I already have it downloaded. I'm like an hour into it. I didn't talk about it. It's on Game Pass. Adding games on Game Pass. The fuck I'm gonna play on your Steam shared account if it's on Game Pass. Out of here, Nick.
Burn.
Anything else, Casey?
Just the usual streams. DMC tomorrow, me and Marty. And
we might get to Dante tomorrow.
That's it. Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of Nero, if I'm being honest.
We crushed it last week. We got to a boss. Everyone was like, "This is gonna take you 10 hours," and we fucking crushed that, man. On top of that tower.
Yeah. Fuck that tower and that man.
Him and his dumb sister. Fuck that man and his dumb sister. Yeah.
No, that's what Nero wants to do. He wants to fuck that man's sister.
He does want to fuck it. He's infatuated with that man's sister. Speaking of infatuated with sisters, Nick, what are you up to?
What a weird transition. I didn't
have any other transitions.
Tomorrow, Frost, J-Mate, and I will be back at 12 to 2 to play Gigantic for Shoot the Shit.
Gigantic boys.
That was one I never got to try before it got canceled, so I'm excited to jump into that. I want to find a MOBA that I enjoy. That might be it. Who knows? We'll see. Other than that, I am Frost and I will also be back on Friday to continue Call of Duty. We'll wrap up the first Call of Duty and jump into United Offensive, the expansion pack to the original Call of Duty. So see how far I get in that, as long as there's no crazy defend the house missions that make me want to go crazy. And then next week I'll have a new Unpacked video. I'm obviously still doing the investigative video, but it's going to take a bit more time to do the interviews I need to do. So next week's video should be on get me the hell out of menus in your games, please.
Also, Sweet. Cheesecake Factory. Get me the hell out of menus at the Cheesecake Factory because there's so many menus there.
That's how I feel when I go to IHOP. Too many pancake options.
Yeah, oh my god, house. It is. It's an international house of pancakes. You would expect them to have so many of those. Excellent. Yeah, and so check us out on the streams tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday as well at noon with Jack. We'll be back playing more Elden Ring. Just gabbing about nonsense. No Saturday stream for the time being, but then Frost and Amy will be back Sunday, newly released at 3 p.m. Central. So tune in for that. The big
thing next week is our charity stream for Able Gamers on April 18th. 12 hours of a bunch of us being dummies.
That's so long.
Raising money for Able Gamers through Tilt.
And I think we can officially say it. That's when the Dokapon will continue.
Dokapon will continue.
We got to do a little. We got to each do a little bit of like Dokapon remembering how that game works.
It's so.
I think I'm gonna put on the last episode and be like, let's just watch. Let's have this on in the background to kind of soak in and remember how a little dope goes. It'll be a long stream. It'll be all different groups. Like it won't even be like our Persona all day streams. It's gonna be like legitimately like different crews.
Like we're gonna like literally have baton that we hand through the stream to Marty.
Not a literal baton, because
no, I'm going to literally throw a baton at my computer screen at you.
It's not going to get to me. I'm just worrying you.
Your monitor probably will break.
Your monitor probably will break.
Here's what we'll do.
Try. Let's just
here's what we'll do. There's like those TikTok videos where they're like, we'll have to pay attention really close to this, and then something flings at you, and you're like, oh shit. That's what I'm gonna do to you. So okay. you will react to something being thrown at you.
You just warned him though, like.
He won't know when it happens.
It's possible. I'm very easily startled. So it's possible.
And also, Marty doesn't remember things that happened 5 minutes ago.
I will also not remember this. So it's very possible I get very scared next week.
Oh, yes. So people in the chat are asking what games. Let me go to our chat real quick. Hold on.
It'll be Super Mario Bros.
It'll be,
3. It'll be Donkey Kong Country 2. It'll be
Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, no, we'll start with Helldivers 2, then we'll go to Fall Guys, then you get 4 hours straight of Dokapon Kingdom,
too much.
then Lethal Company, then to end the night, First Class Trouble, our favorite game.
FCT.
I'm gonna baptize Marty again.
Our favorite game.
Fungus Fighter with the Dono says, Nick, just play Portal 2. What if we just did 12 hours of Portal 2? Think about that. Think about that. I think that's it for us. We did a great job. I'm proud of every single one of us, including
Nice.
everyone in the audience. So
Yeah.
you all did well, great as well.
We did it, and you guys did it.
You know what? You can put this on your resumes. If they're like, hey, what is the most recent life accomplishment? Just say, I did it
I
with
made
the
it through
boys.
2 hours of Casey, Marty, and Nick being dummies. Yeah.
We did it with the boys. We did it with the boys. I watched Eric play on his fucking Switch homepage. So for Nick, Casey, and Eric, this is Marty. This is Firelink episode number 17. Thank you all so much, as always, for tuning in. And come back tomorrow for Gigantic as well as DMC. And we'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
That image of me.